How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I imagine this has been a season of disappointment for y'all. For you individually, you can't control injuries, but how does it kind of weigh on you just the season overall?
It's been tough. It's definitely been a really tough season. For me personally, not being out there with the guys or being a part of this season is definitely new for me. It started rough. I missed the first game, and then my second game here at home against the Lakers, that's when this injury happened. And I tried to play through it until it got to a point where it was either rehab or surgery. You guys know me. I decided to do rehab and, try and get back to be out there with the guys. And ultimately it led to 6 more games and then going for surgery, So definitely sad I couldn't be a part of it and not help in any way I could. But on the bright side, surgery went great. Doctor was very pleased. Basically, we'll have a better knee than I did before. So I'm very happy to hear that. And rehab's going really good. My Wolverine healing powers are starting to kick in. And I feel like I'm ahead of schedule, and I'm just really excited for next season, even though this one just finished. I'll be ready for the start of next season and play at the all-NBA level that everyone here in Sacramento has been used to seeing me play at. And I'm going to work out really hard and be ready.
And in years past, you might have had an idea of what the future looked like here. Does this one, as you step into your future, at least in terms of a player as a King, does it feel like you know what that looks like beyond this summer, or is there a lot of uncertainty for you?
There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know what that feels like, but I can control what I control, and is getting back to that all-NBA player that I know I can be.
Hey, Domas.
Hi.
What went into the decision to wait and to not have surgery immediately, and at what point did you just go, oh man, this is healing?
Because I love basketball. I love being here with the team, the fans, the city, playing in front of them. It just brings me so much joy, and you guys know me. I've played through many injuries and tried to play through them. I've done it before, thought I could do it again. But this time, right before All-Star break, I went in to check in and see what else I could do to finish the season. And they basically said, if you're coming here again in that short period of time, it's best you fix it or something worse can happen.
And when you're sitting there watching, how much joy did you get from watching Dylan and watching Max take these leaps and bounds throughout the season?
A lot of joy, especially last game. That was a lot of fun. The last home game, they're thriving. They're taking advantage of the opportunity. They're great human beings, first of all, and it's showing on the court.
Domas, just actually picking up off that, when you see the young guys just flourishing and, you see them starting to develop and their progression coming along the way it has, how much, is that enticing for you to, want to get back out there? I know you say you love basketball, but did that add any extra motivation or incentive when you see the guys rocking like that to get out there and kind of play with them, especially looking for next?
For sure. They're playing great. They're moving the ball. They're playing 2 bigs. It's something I thought I was going to do this year, but didn't have the chance. So that's all very exciting. They're playing the right way, and you can see the progress throughout the year. So I only expect bigger things for them next year.
Obviously, Doug took over last season, got some good run there, but first full year under him, first year under Scott as well. What's your impressions of the job they did this year? How much faith do you have in them to continue trending this upwards going forward?
Great job. There was a lot of things thrown at them this year, especially Doug as a first-time official head coach, and he managed it the best way he could, and all the guys are bought in. They listen to him, and I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, Domas. Zach Levine did, allude to it a little bit, though, as far as, the veterans, what they could do, what they want to do. So I know that's a disappointment. How disappointing was it for you because you weren't able to, to step on the floor with Keegan for one thing and things like that. So how much of a disappointment was it for you?
All I want to do is be on the court, and the fact that I wasn't able to do that and be a part of it. And just like you said, I didn't even get to play with Keegan, so that's definitely sad. We definitely have a great 2-man connection game right there, and we definitely worked on things last summer to try and use it, but things happen.
Domas, who have you leaned on during this rehab process?
Feel like everyone, the vets, Scott's been great. Just, it's my first time being out for so long, I feel like there's a lot of benefits, being out and really paying attention and dissecting the game. And there's a lot of things I've learned where if I was playing, I wouldn't have seen from the outside. So using that this summer will definitely help.
The NBA is a business, nothing new with that. Your name's been floated out as a trade possibility during the trade deadline, then heading into the summer. How do you navigate that?
Just treat it like I have, every year since I got in the NBA. I always want to get better as a player, and no matter where I am, but I'm very happy here. You all know that. And things like this, you just got to focus on my knee, my rehab, getting back to the player I am.
Domas, obviously, once you got hurt, you're locked in on your rehab and everything, but were you able to monitor Max much and see his progress? And if so, what did you see from him this year?
Yeah, he's been great. His aggressiveness, learning how to play in different situations. At first he was a lot of pick and roll with Russ in the beginning, and then you see him on a 3-point line shooting, pump faking, driving, making plays. So that's the growth you want to see. He's proved that he can be an impact in all different areas on the court.
Good morning, Domas. This time last year, you said the team needed a point guard. That's what you said in the offseason. I'm curious, besides health, what's your assessment of what the team needs going into the summer?
It's hard this year because, like you said, there's a lot of noise going on and no one really knows what's going to happen. We'll obviously have a high draft pick, so that also comes into play, and we trust Scott to do the right thing.
You mentioned some of that noise. If fans, media, if they have a vision of your team that doesn't necessarily reflect maybe the optimism that you have for your future, what is maybe one thing or two things that you see that maybe they're missing?
The team?
Yeah, just overall in terms of like maybe the future with the organization.
It's hard to tell because, like you said, the whole team hasn't played together all year. Even Hunter, we got him at the deadline. He played 2 games before he got injured. We have so many pieces that we've been missing: wings, tall defenders, like everyone's wanted, but we haven't played together. So it's tough to evaluate because you have now some pieces that you could use, but we haven't seen it on the court.
Hi, Domas. You mentioned that there were some benefits that you took away back here.
Okay.
You took away from being sidelined. I'd be curious to know what those benefits are, and what did you learn from being sidelined for majority?
Just how the game evolves and changes every year. There's different trends that go around, and how bigs are playing or how bigs are guarding, other stars emerging into the league, and how I would have to play against them once I step back on the court. So, all these little things that it gave me time to watch other games too and really learn. So, I have a little notepad that I write things down, and then go back in summer and really focus on those things.